Here I welcome to all my dear students, myself Dr. Sali. In the last lecture, we had seen principles of good corporate governance. Today, we are going to learn concept of disaster management. So let's start with the new topic, concept of disaster management. Concept of disaster management. According to Henry Fayol, disaster management is a distinct process consisting of planning, organizing, actuating, and controlling, utilizing in order to overcome the effect of disaster based earthquake, tsunami, global warming, floods are natural disaster and pollution, population growth are disasters, affect human beings and environment. That's why disaster must be managed. This management can be defined as the organization and management of resources and responsibility for dealing with all aspects of emergencies. Thus, disaster management is dynamic in nature because the intensity of every disaster is different from one to another. This management is interdisciplinary in nature. There are different techniques and equipments to handle the disaster. This technique can be used as per requirement of particular disaster. It consists of identification of threats to an organization and its stakeholders and the method used by the organization and to deal with these threats. The global events organizations must be able to cope with the potential for drastic changes to the way they conduct business. Advantages of disaster management. Disaster management aims to reduce or avoid the potential losses from disaster. It assures prompt and appropriate assistance to victims of disaster, tries to achieve the rapid and effective recovery. This management can be a state or national level. It can be specifically for a single unit. The second is disaster management plans to minimize the adverse effect of the disaster. This management also includes preparing the people mentally to face the disaster and training them to face the disaster when it occurs. The objectives of the disaster management to make the systematic arrangement to face disaster in future, to try to reduce intensity of disaster in future, and to help to set routine human life of the affected area. Disaster may come at any time and in any form. It is important to prepare people for disaster. People at large must be trained to face disaster so that can be avoided. This management plan can be defined as the organization and management of the required resources, both the human and material. They clearly what needs to be done, when, how, and by whom before, during, and after event occurs capable destructions of property and lives disaster management plan. They plays an important role in the prompt management of disaster events, also ensuring that normally returns to the area within the shortest possible time. Management can help to prevent disaster from happenings. They can assess the particular location for risk factor and advise or task the necessary measures to prevent destruction of lives and properties. In this slide, now we will discuss types of disaster management. The many types of crisis that managers face. These range from natural disasters to technology failure and crisis by external confrontation or direct act. Management consists of tactics to understand the disaster which may occur and remedies to face the disasters. This management can be understood from the various points. The first is mitigations. It includes steps and techniques to minimize the losses arising out of disaster. It includes taking precaution to minimize effects of disaster. Second point is planning. This phase planning is done as to how to face disaster. This phase precautionary plan are prepared. This environment and nature to lead to natural disaster. They are generally beyond the control of human beings. Technological disaster as a result of failure in technology and problem in the overall system lead to technological disaster. Breakdown of machine, software, that is the technological disasters. Next is response. This phase includes all the steps possible to reduce of disaster. To face disaster for reception when management purposely data and information. Management makes the promise and wrong commitment to the customer, communicating the wrong information about the organization and product leads to disaster. Last is recovery. This phase is about bringing the things to normal after disaster. Such a type of disaster arises when the employees in violent acts such as beating employees, superiors in the office premises. Disaster sector the management values arise when management supports short-term growth, broader issues. Disaster due to natural factors in environment, nature, such as storms, flood, droughts, earthquake, etc. So, these were the various types of disaster management. I hope all of you must have understand these types of disaster management. Thank you.